Yeah, going into the week, we all said that these guys are better than you want them to be. 2-5 record, but you look at playing East Carolina, playing Navy, playing Memphis, playing Tulane, and they battled every single game. And I got a chance to talk to Coach before the game, and I said I was so impressed how he's really kept these guys together, and they come out and play really hard. And he had some answers for us. He did a really good job offensively, putting us on our heels, and we're going to be a lot of 50-50 games, and you got to win these games. Just like we felt that Navy game, you got to win those games. And so it was great getting an overtime win. Those kind of things always bring you together. And I thought it was a great week of preparation. Didn't come out as well as we wanted to in the beginning of the game, but we got going a little bit later. Disappointed on the 5 tries, get in the end zone from the 1.5 yard line, and we didn't do it. Kind of gutsy to go there at the end, but I just felt like, we got to prove something. We got to see if we can get that yard. It was actually half a yard or maybe 6 inches. And then we ended up not scoring, but I just felt putting ourselves in harm's way, but I wasn't going to give them any time to come down and give a chance to throw the ball around. So, and their field goal kicker was pretty good. He was an All-American for me at Sam Houston as a freshman, and so I knew he had a strong leg, and they got in field goal range. He could hit a deep one. So, but you can hear the kids. I mean, they're having a ball, and that's what these kind of wins do. So, questions.
So sort of working backwards, there's very little time once they call they're coming out for 2 to win the game. What did you try to get called in there?
We sort of anticipated that they were going to do that, and their tight end is like a difference maker. He's just a different cat, and so he had a couple of huge plays to really kind of change the game in terms of the trajectory of the game. And so we kind of thought they were going to have something where they were going to make it look like a run, and so we kind of talked it through a little bit. I think the guys anticipated we might get some sort of pop pass or something like that. So, but now they're like I said, their record does not show who they are. And this is this league. So many teams that are right there, and you go on the road in this league. You're happy when you walk out with a win.
For the longest time, it was like, all right, if these guys don't just make one more spectacular catch in the end zone, we can get some distance.
You got to give them a lot of credit too. They made those plays, and a couple we were a little frustrated on, obviously, but they made those plays. So hats off to those guys. Like I said, we knew going in, like there was no pretending this was going to be like we could rest some guys and those kind of things. It was more like all hands on deck. Didn't have Sekou again. Hopefully we can get him back next week. He's had a couple setbacks, and we just figured let's get him, hopefully 100% for the run. And then Eric King was a guy that we just felt we're better off, not playing him because he really played very little during the last 2 weeks. It was more not the fact that we're going to try resting him. It was really more like, how effective is he going to be? Has not gotten a lot of real reps in the last 2 weeks, so hopefully getting him back too will help us a bunch.
So there was, it seemed like second and third quarter offense, it was just explosive and then explosive, and then a guy wide open for a touchdown. Like Evan sort of made it look easy, and then got bogged down. What do you think?
Well, talking to Tyler a little bit there on the sideline and then in the locker room, he said we're better when we're aggressive, and I think he kind of dialed it back a little bit, and I think now we all kind of I don't say second guess ourselves. We always do postmortems. Okay, what can we do better? And I always suggest to our guys, like, look yourself in your eye and say, okay, I could have done these things better. I think his takeaway is that when he's aggressive, when we're aggressive as an offense, we're a better offense. And I think he may try to dial back a little bit, try to take a little time down. But again, I think you can see when we're aggressive, we're pretty good offense.
Yeah, and was that first play of overtime? I didn't see you hadn't really run that thing all day to Collins.
Yeah, and there was like 3 times we got down to like the 1 yard line, and the one time we didn't get in, and Hunter had that big run and broke it, and just couldn't get it in there, and but yeah, when he's aggressive, I think he feels more comfortable. And Evan is like the perfect quarterback for this offense because he's so accurate. Thought we protected him pretty well, and a couple times he had to hang in there, with some pressure. But all in all, I thought Tulsa's a much better football team than that 2-6 record shows.
And then Dante and Carl helped you hold him
Oh
off there
yeah,
for a long time.
yeah. Think about our special teams. You know, we didn't get really much with the return game, but boy, you know, Carl hit that big field goal. Little wind to his back. End of the game, I'm fine. Like 60 yards. I mean, I've seen him make 60 yards at our place. So and Dante did such a good job pinning him down in terms of field position. So. Yeah, I thought the special teams, stepped up in those areas, and we got a chance to pin them down a couple times, and again, those two kids do a really good job.
Defense, I mean, you got some PIs on sort of they convert some big third downs on that. And...
Yeah, we'll have to see the tape. I hate to go to the officials and say, hey, I just saw this on tape, but there was a couple that get us off the field. And we can't have those sloppy plays. The one we grab a shoulder and the ball's not anywhere to be complete. And I always try to tell the defensive backs, make them make a play. If they make a play, I'm good. Just you're in a great position. They make a play, but let's not give them the cheap one. And we gave them a couple of cheap ones. Yeah, so those are the kind of things we have to work on. We talk about it all the time. But those are things we got to get cleaned up.
Is uncatchable just something we're not going to, we don't see
very
often?
Yeah, because I said the ball's out of bounds, and the other one was way inside, and there was two that were uncatchable balls. But yeah, I think when they feel that there's a grab taking place, they're going to call that every time.
The rush the kid kept extending plays and then just winging it. Did the guys need to, fix it? Like, were they just beelining straight at him, and he was was escaping, but like the pass rush was on him, but kind of let him.
I'm not sure which one player you're talking about.
Several times, right? There was several times where the kid. Got flushed out and made things.
Well, that's one of the things when we talked about what quarterback's going to play. He's the guy that you said can extend plays. He's the guy who's that sneaky athletic. They put a bigger body in when they wanted to run the ball downhill in the short yardage packages. But he really did a great job extending plays. And it's a little frustrating because there was times where he got out of the pocket, and boy, he just had all the time, and he made some plays downfield that you only can ask your defensive backs to cover for so long. So, talked a little bit about doing a little bit more mush rush, where you're kind of just staying in your lanes and just pushing the pocket back. Probably look at some other solutions because again, when we cut him loose, boy, he caused a lot of havoc for us.
And just looking at those 3 plays at the goal line, Hunter had just got like a 75-yard run.
Yeah.
Then you ended up giving it to him, I think, 3 more times in a row. Was that when you're
I wasn't actually part of that. I mean, I turned that over to Tyler, and I was getting involved with some other stuff, kickoff stuff, and going back on defense and all those kind of things. And I didn't even notice who we run the ball. I thought we got ducked back in there from one of those, maybe not. So I think I'm out on the 4th down one. I think we got ducked back in there. So, all right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.